Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. Many of you have been asking me how to write an original essay story or original story essay in your composition, and this is for both class 9 and 10 as well as class 11 and 12 for ICSE and ISE. Now, original stories, how are they different from the rest? Now, I strongly believe that if you have, and listen to this carefully, if you have narrative essays as your preference one, I would say original story should be your preference B, or the other way around, because both of them involve essentially some kind of creative juices flowing. आपकी creativity पे depend करेगा कि आप कितनी engaging story oblique narration लिख पाते हैं. Okay, so as far as original stories go, what are the things that you need to bear in mind? और उसके बाद मैं अपनी बुक में से एक essay आपको दिखाऊंगा so that you get an idea about how it is to be written and how we have written, and I'm talking about this book. This is the book which is available on Amazon. This is for ISC, and this particular, actually this is from the book itself, and this is the book for ICSE which is available on the Study with Sudhir app. This is for ICSE class 9 and 10. दोनों में ओरिजिनल स्टोरीज हैं. तो आज की जो मैं कहानी है, जो मैं पूरा दिखा रहा हूं, वो इस बुक में से है. And all those students who have bought the book and have been writing to me on email, on the chat on the app, and on YouTube comments, great feedback. So thank you for all the nice things that you have said. It gives me great pleasure because, as I said, इस book को लिखने में 6 महीने लगे हैं. It has taken 6 months of effort into this. So it's not like, and every word is written by me. It's not a case that, someone else is writes and I give my name to it. No, each and every word I take responsibility for every word that is written in this particular book. So this is a quote: details make stories human, and the more human the story can be, the better. Written by Ernest Hemingway. Now, this is very important. This is from the book. This is very important because your stories have to have that emotional connect with the reader. इमोशनल कनेक्ट कितना अच्छा होगा, उतनी बेहतर कहानी आप लिख पाएंगे. ओके, तो उसमें क्या क्या चीजें आपको ध्यान में रखनी पड़ेंगी. पहली चीज, गाइडलाइंस. इट हैज टू बी एन ओरिजिनल शॉर्ट स्टोरी. ओरिजिनल का मतलब है इधर उधर से कॉपी की हुई स्टोरी नहीं होनी चाहिए. ये आपके दिमाग की उपज होनी चाहिए. ओके, सो इट कैन नॉट बी कॉपीड फ्रॉम एनी अदर सोर्स बिकॉज प्लेजराइजिंग से आपके मार्क्स जाएंगे. दूसरा, the question might require you to start with a specific phrase or conclude with one. ये हो सकता है कि पहली लाइन दी गई हो, लास्ट लाइन दी गई हो. मैंने दोनों के टाइप के लिखे हुए हैं. या आपको किसी चीज का टाइटल दिया गया हो, या आपसे कहा गया, और ये पिछले 2-3 साल में ऐसा आ रहा है कि आपसे कहा गया हो कि ये आपके मेन कैरेक्टर्स हैं इस पर्टिकुलर कहानी के. उसके बारे में मैंने एक कहानी लिखी है इसमें, अबाउट अ फोटोग्राफर, a football and a dog. Fascinating story. One of my favorite essays in this particular book. So it starts with a specific phrase or conclude with one or prompt you to create a story featuring certain characters. In this type of writing, you have the freedom to use dialogues. तो आप बीच में dialogues लिख सकते हैं ओरिजिनल स्टोरी में, जो कि आप आर्ग्यूमेंटेटिव में, डिस्क्रिप्टिव में, रिफ्लेक्टिव वगैरह में नहीं लिख पाएंगे ज्यादातर, राइट. ओरिजिनल स्टोरी में इनफैक्ट योर स्टोरी वुड लुक गुड if you actually include dialogues in it. Not too many, a few. Okay. The story must contain all essential elements such as plot, because it's like this, you see a movie, कहानी में दम होना चाहिए. कहानी नहीं होगी तो even if you have the biggest of stars, the movie flops. So कहानी में दम होना चाहिए. सेटिंग कहां पर सेट की गई है, किस तरह के कैरेक्टर्स हैं, किस तरह की शुरुआत है, किस तरह का एक्शन है, किस तरह का इमोशन है, किस तरह की एंडिंग की गई है. ओके, सो ऑल दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ व्हाट यू कैन डू इज टू इनकॉर्पोरेटिंग ह्यूमर, विच ऑलवेज वर्क्स वेरी वेल, और अपने आप पर मजाक कर सकते हैं, अपना मजाक खुद उड़ा सकते हैं, या एक्शन ला सकते हैं. सो ऑल दोस एलिमेंट्स वर्क वेरी वेल इन अ स्टोरी. माय फेवरेट थिंग इज दैट इफ यू कैन मेक द स्टोरी अ लिटिल इमोशनल, it always works. And you need to work, impact. That's what I written. Introducing emotion, which also has a strong impact on the audience. See, I'm showing you this to you from the book itself so that you also get an idea कि इस book में क्या है. वैसे, if you go to Amazon, you will find the pages of the book. Some of the pages also feature, so that will also give you an idea. but this I'm giving you even more of an idea. So what you have, the introduction is very important, and ये जो story मैं आपको दिखाने वाला हूं उसमें मैंने किस तरह से इंट्रोड्यूस किया है उस पर आप ज्यादा ध्यान दीजिए. Okay, ensure that the storytelling maintains a quick pace to complement the dramatic opening line, especially opening line में काफी ड्रामा हो तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आपके द्वारा जो सेकेंड लाइन लिखी गई है, it should not fall flat. That's very important. So you should be able to maintain the tempo of the opening line. Then the paragraphs, that the dramatic twist is important, something which the reader may not expect. That's, in fact, I was seeing a web series called The Lincoln Lawyer. Okay, 3 seasons. The 3rd season was released in October. And in the last episode, the 10th episode, there was such a dramatic twist which nobody, at least I did not see coming. And I just karke got up because it kind of shook me, the dramatic twist in that last episode of the web series. That's what makes for an interesting storytelling by the writer, by the director, whoever. Okay. It must be intriguing and have an unexpected turn of events. Ensure that the reader is completely captivated by the unexpected dramatic twist during a revelation or face-off. Use dialogues in first person. Conclusion, you can express your own feelings. The conclusion should leave the reader with a sense of positivity or a valuable takeaway. That's something. Your stories should not be negative, largely. In fact, no essay should be negative. It should generally have a more positive tone to it at your level. Okay. Now let's read, and this is like an annotated. One essay from each type has been annotated so that you get an idea कि आपको किन-किन चीजों का ध्यान रखना है. So this is an original story that begins with the words, "I froze and my mind went numb." So you see the first line has a lot of drama, has a sense of action, and it's very important that your first paragraph carries it forward. I froze and my mind went numb. Now another important thing, इसको देखते ही आपको क्या समझ में आना चाहिए कि ये एक्शन के बीच का पैराग्राफ है. तो आपकी जो कहानी है, very interestingly, has to start in the middle, then tell the background and then take it forward. So it's like, आप गाड़ी में है, आप थोड़ा सा आगे जाएंगे, रिवर्स करेंगे और फिर गाड़ी को निकालेंगे. It's a bit like that. Okay. I froze and my mind went numb as the rhino's massive frame shifted from peacefully grazing to sprinting like Usain Bolt. So I've kind of, the moment I say Usain Bolt, you get the idea कि ये बहुत तेज दौड़ने वाला है. The peaceful safari at Dudhwa National Park. So I've given the name of a national park. इससे क्या होगा, आपकी स्टोरी ज्यादा रियलिस्टिक लगेगी. ऐसा नहीं है कि ख्याली पुलाव बना रहे हैं, नहीं पका रहे हैं, नहीं. You are making the story realistic by naming a particular national park which exists in India. Suddenly turned into a terrifying experience. So what is the comment that we have put in by the editor? The story begins in media res. In media res is a literary technique that involves starting a story in the middle of a crucial situation, because that's how the opening sentence was, rather than from the beginning. It helps us grab the attention of the reader from the word go. That is the advantage of starting like this. Then my friends and I were deep inside the forest, enjoying a day out amidst the wildlife. Our guide Manas. So, and another thing which you should always pay attention to is name the characters. The moment you name the characters, it gives more authenticity and the reader will be able to identify with the character. इंस्टेड अगर आप किसी को नाम नहीं देंगे तो एक वो आइडेंटिफिकेशन नहीं होती. अगर कोई हीरो है, अगर हीरो को नाम नहीं देंगे तो द रीडर कैन नॉट रूट फॉर द हीरो. या कोई विलन है, उसको नाम नहीं देंगे तो यू कैन नॉट काइंड ऑफ हेट द विलन with that much of intensity. So that becomes important. These are all techniques, and as someone who has been writing for the last 30 years and more, I can tell you these are all techniques which one has learned over the years, and that's what I'm providing to you. Had taken us on a trail known for its rich wildlife. We had already spotted a leopard, langurs, deer, and peacocks. The majestic rhino that we spotted, even as the sun was about to set, was like the icing on the cake. Icing on the cake means was the best thing. Now here, the paragraph gives the background or the setting of the story कि कहां पर सेट की गई है, इसका बैकग्राउंड क्या है, हम वहां पर दुधवा नेशनल पार्क में क्या करने के लिए गए थे, क्या क्या देखा था. Unexpectedly. Now here, the moment I put unexpectedly, you know that there is something detail is going to come which you did not quite expect. This paragraph onwards, the action builds up. The change in action is signaled by the word unexpectedly. So these kind of connecting words become that much more important. Or examiner will be looking for, oh, how has the student changed gears? कि some second gear से third gear जाते वक्त किस तरह से the student has managed to grab my attention. These are the things. That's why I say a lot of effort has gone into this book, into looking at very minute details on how best to help the student understand कि ये techniques use करने से आपके 20 में से 18, 19, 20 marks आ सकते हैं. That's all the idea is. So the rhino swiftly changed direction, fixing its gaze upon us, its small eyes revealing a surge of fury. Look at the vocabulary also. I am not, revealing, I could have written fury. But a surge of fury से क्या पता चलता है कि उसको और भी ज्यादा अंदर से शायद गुस्सा आ रहा है. It is increasing, the intensity is increasing. So every word has been used to convey a particular meaning. No one moved. The vehicle was silent. Next, the creature charged forward. So also I want to say, it's not if you are an ICSE class 9-10 student, and if you are sure you're going to continue in ISC next year in 11th and 12th, I would strongly recommend that you buy this book now, because इससे फायदा ये होगा, in addition to the 72 essays that are there in this book for 10th class and 9th class, you will get another 60 essays. So you will get much more of material to read, and the more you read, trust me, it will really help. I'm reading a beautiful, a very nice book, a very informative book on branding these days. Actually, kal hi shuru kiya. Fascinating book on how big brands, how a company, what are the changes that a company like Move made. Move जो आप कहीं पे दर्द हो तो लगाते हैं, in comparison to IODEX earlier. IODEX में ऐसी क्या कमी थी जिसका की फायदा Move ने उठाया, and they brought in a new product. How did the brand like Crack Cream, actually how did that come about? Because the people observed the fact that many women had broken heels. That's how the entire thing came about. So what I'm saying is that the more you read, it will get, if I can read at my age, I'm sure all of you can also do the same. I mean, जितना टाइम आपके पास है उससे कम टाइम ही मेरे पास रहता है. Backup. Now here you see I'm putting in first person to convey the action, and deliberately I have repeated it. You will not say, अगर आप टेंशन में हैं, आप एक बार ही कहेंगे बैकअप करो यार, ये कोई आराम से बात है, बैकअप जल्दी आओ बोलते हैं ना, उसी तरह से. So you convey the action. Backup. I yelled again conveys a sense of panic. My voice breaking the trance. Trance matlab, you are, you're no longer like you're no longer like a Buddha kind of meditative pose. You are, in tension. That had fallen over the group. Manas slammed the jeep into reverse, his hands trembling as he struggled to steer the vehicle away from the charging rhino. The engine roared. So you see the kind of verbs that I have used. Roared, the engine roared. Roar is generally a verb that you associate with a wild animal. But now our vehicle is like roaring back into action because we need to escape. Of the rhino's thunderous footsteps echoed behind us, getting louder with each passing second. So you're conveying the action. The action is being built up. Middle portion of a story or a narrative essay always has to have that action. If you read the narrative essay, which I think there are some 16, 17 narrative essays in this collection, you will see that, there is, the focus is on the action. Panic surged through me, if the topic is such. Okay, panic surged through me as I watched the animal close the distance. Close the distance means or pass aa gaya. The horn sharp and deadly, the horn of the rhino. glimmered in the evening sun, appearing to target us. We had heard stories of rhinos on the rampage, but none of us had expected to witness one, let alone be the target. My heart thumped in my chest, each throb increasing in intensity. So you're, you know, conveying the tension. And now comes the twist in the plot. Just when it seemed like the rhino would ram into our vehicle, a new sound emerged from the jungle. I turned to see a herd of elephants burst through the trees, trumpeting loudly. The moment they arrived, the earth seemed to shake, causing even the rhino to pause for a moment. The elephants, led by a towering matriarch, charged toward the rhino, their trunks raised, ears flapping with authority. Their massive bodies formed an impenetrable wall between us and the enraged rhino. It was as if they were telling the rhino to back off, to remember its place in the hierarchy of the world. Wild. This is a phrase, to, because wild में क्या है, elephants का दर्जा rhino से या leopard वगैरह से थोड़ा ऊपर रहता है, right? So it's like that. So it's almost like there's a touch of humor out here कि बता रहे हैं कि अपनी औकात में रहो, right? So I've deliberately tried to not exactly personification, but kind of given it a bit of a human element, औकात में रहो बोलने की तरह. The elephants stood their ground, causing the rhino to back away as we watched in amazement. For a moment, the matriarch's eyes met mine, and I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me. Later, the herd turned and vanished into the jungle, leaving us both shaken and unharmed. So, you have brought in the plot twist. And now, what will be the conclusion like? You reflect on the events of the story to conclude the essay. As we return to the base camp, I realized that in the wild, where survival is a constant battle, we had been saved by the gentle guardians of the jungle. So you give a very nice phrase like guardians of the jungle. Who have been the guardians of the jungle? The elephants in this particular case. The elephants had reminded the rhino and us that even in the wild, the guest is like God. I remember while writing this, I was thinking, should I end with the Hindi phrase? The guest, because dimag mein tha mere Atithi Devo Bhava. So, should I end with that? So, in fact, in the first draft, I had written that. Then I thought, let me not introduce Hindi into an English language thing. But agar isi tarah ka aapko Hindi ka essay aata hai, right? You can write something like this, and there you can definitely write Atithi Devo Bhava. So, the guest is like, and we were the guests in the jungle. So, we needed to be treated with care, with respect, with affection. And that's what the elephant seem to have told the rhino. Okay. So, this is the original story. I hope you got an idea on how exactly to frame it, what should be the approach. And if you are the kind जिनको की पढ़ने की आदत है, especially story books पढ़ने की आदत है, मैं आपको ये advice दूंगा कि you should definitely keep original story as one of your option, plan A या plan B, definitely. Okay, but उसमें एक चीज का ध्यान रखना कि जो भी आप स्टोरी लिखें, आपने जो पुरानी स्टोरी पढ़ी है उसी को कॉपी करके मत लिखे. You can get inspired by that. You can think of, oh, Ruskin Bond used this particular style to start the story. You can use a similar technique, but don't copy the same plot of the story. Every story like this one has to be a figment of your imagination. That's very important. Okay, so if you want to purchase these two books, दोनों के links are given in the description box, so you could feel free to do that. I would strongly recommend doing so because I really think it's a great investment to make as far as the essays for class 11 and 12 is concerned, and essays and letters for class 9 and 10. Why I say class 11 students, in fact even class 8 students should buy this book, because iska to, in fact, I have very few copies left now in the store. I think ये जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगा, तो इसके ज्यादा कॉपीज नहीं रहेंगे. दूसरे के ऑफ कोर्स Amazon पे अवेलेबल रहेगा, बट इट्स अ लिमिटेड एडिशन. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू ब्रिंग आउट अनदर एडिशन नेक्स्ट ईयर, सो डोंट थिंक दैट नेक्स्ट ईयर खरीदेंगे. 11th वाले you can use it this year as well as next year, and the same goes for class 9 and 10 also. Okay, tata, bye bye, thank you very much. I hope this has been of use to you. I would also try to look at some other essays to bring to you so that you can understand what it takes in order to write a great essay. Okay, ये 20 मार्क को हल्के में मत लो. Okay, thank you very much. Tata, bye bye. God bless you.